In an effort to educate all of our competitors and judges, I wanted to create a series of videos that are going to show you how to get the most out of your training, both in your garage and on the platform. Now, in arm lifting, we've taken a lot of the same cues and rules from powerlifting when it comes to the deadlift. First, any downward movement of the weight as you lift it is going to be a no lift. So that means if the weight's coming off the ground and your fingers begin to open up a little bit and the weight comes back down, sorry, that's a no-go. You have to maintain control at the top of the lift, bring your hips through, shoulders at least neutral or vertical, and look at the judge to make sure that they're seeing that you are completely locked out and ready for that down command. You can only return the bar, the implement, or anything else to the ground once the judge gives you the down command. Our judges are going to have to be really strict with making sure the athlete has full control at the top of the lift and not just hitting a quick lockout and back down. One of the things that makes arm lifting so appealing to not just new lifters or those who are already strength athletes is all the lifts are done to lockout. If you've ever done a single deadlift in the gym, you know how lockout feels. It's when you're standing all the way up with the weight and you put it all the way back down to the ground under control. There's no crossbars to hit, or there's no certain height you have to hit. There's no arguing about whether it was 7.5 inches high or 8.5 inches high off the ground. Just lock it out, hold it, and wait for the judge's down command. Just like powerlifting, just like strongman. Now, that isn't to say that there aren't good methods of training or that other styles of competition aren't viable or good or whatever else. Do things however you like in training. Do things however you like in your other competitions. But in arm lifting, we have a certain standard we like you to hit, and these are the standards of performance. Now, the goal behind all these rules and standards is not to be hard asses about things. We want to see people lift the heaviest weights possible, but we also want to ensure that the quality of judging and the consistency of judging is without a doubt top notch. This is the Rolling Thunder. I'm sure you've already seen the other videos about how to train with the Rolling Thunder, and maybe seen some other folks train with it before, or maybe even have one in your own gym. So this is one of the newer models. You don't have to use the newest model to participate in an Armlifting USA sanctioned event, but it's helpful because this is kind of the standard for the World Championships. So we want to make sure everybody's kind of on the same level playing field. Some of the older model handles have been known to be a little bit sticky when they get gunked up with chalk. Heck, the thing's been invented and around for 20 plus years. So there's going to be some deviations in quality over the last 20 years. So, take it easy with your internet comments about this handle's old and I can lift 30 pounds more. This handle's new and I can't lift shit on it. Just get you a new one. So regardless of whether you're using an older model handle or one of these new ones, we want to make sure it spins freely. There's not really a way to test to see, oh, this is, it spun 1 1/4 rotations, or that's fine. What we want to do is hold it at the side, let the handle fall, and if it falls under its own weight easily, starting at 90 degrees and pointing down, then we're fine. As far as gripping the handle goes, we want to make sure your hand's in the middle of the handle here, not off to the side. You'll see some folks as they start in the middle and they're not able to make the lift, they get a little bit desperate and maybe they'll cheat it over to the edge a little bit. I don't know about that right there. That's pretty close. I'm making contact with the back of my hand on the handle there, which stops the rotation. So if I was a judge, I would be wary of this. And if you're a competitor practicing in your own garage or trying to compete on a larger scale, I would also be wary of this. So make sure at all times your hand is in the middle of the handle. Now you're here at the judge's eye view. You're in the front seat of the judge, looking at me, the competitor. I'm about to walk up and make my attempt. This is going to be a successful attempt, and then we'll talk about what makes it successful. Looked easy enough, right? Well, it's 28 kilos, so I better not miss that. What makes this a good lift is that the handle started parallel to the ground. I didn't have my hand shifted over one way or the other. I had control at the top. I was standing up with my hips through. I was with my chest up, looking straight ahead at the judge, waiting for the down command. When the judge sat down, I lowered the weight under control, didn't drop it freely, but lowered it under control back down to the ground, then let go of the handle to show that I had control over the weight the whole time. So we'll see it again. I have my handle parallel to the ground. Now we can start this way where you're kind of pronated, or it can start this way. Doesn't matter, there's no rule against either one or the other. Take my grip on the handle. Now it's harder to see if you're a judge what's happening with the handle here. If I have my hand cheated, you're going to be able to see quite a bit more of the black part of the handle here. So keep an eye out for that. Trying to get this in the middle of the grip. These are good lifts. Now let's go over some of the things that are going to make a lift nullified or no good. So first we're going to do an improper grip on the handle. You can see I have my hand all the way over to this side of the handle. Lift, and boy, that is a lot easier to hold. You can see here, quite a bit of the handle showing, and there's a little bit of a tilt. So keep your eye on that if you're judging. One of my pet peeves as a director of Armlifting USA, as a competitor and as a judge, is when I see competitors getting down signals that are maybe a little bit too fast. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. Athletes set up, and this is near a limit lift for them. They know it, the judge knows it, and the judge wants to give it to them. They want to see them do it, but sometimes it's at the expense of the integrity of the competition. So it's a lift, down. Not a full lift, not a complete lift. See, my hand starts to go a little bit. Well, I did fully lock out my hips and have my shoulders upright and my chest up looking at the judge. Didn't have control of the weight at the top. The judge has to allow the athlete to show control at the top of the lift. So athlete, make sure you have control at the top of the lift. Wait for that down command every time. Down. Here's another example of what I would consider to be a bad lift. So judges, keep your eye out for this one because it's kind of tricky to watch. This is when the athlete knows they're near their limit. They know if they pull that weight up any higher, it's going to fall out of their hands. It maybe start to roll already. So they're going to stop lifting it at a certain height and just kind of hold it there because they know if they apply even 1 more pound of upward force against that weight, it's going to come out of their grip, and they're going to hold it there for a while and expect you to say, good lift. Here's what I mean. They're going to pretend this is near my limit, which may not be far from the truth. So they're going to lift, and they're going, oh God, it's right at the limit. See, that weight is barely off the ground. They're not quite locked out. Hips are through, but this shoulder is quite a bit forward, and that weight is only a few inches off the ground. What they need to be doing is standing all the way up, raising the weight another several inches, and showing control at the top. I'll show you again. So it's like this. This is not a complete lift. Shoulder is in front of the hips. We should be a lot more upright here.